In this 5-part series, Abdill attempts to establish a foundation for theosophical study.
We're trying to point the students toward an ultimate source of good, really in Plato's sense, not that sentimental sense, but in Plato's sense of the good, which means the eternal, that which never changes, that which is immutable, unspeakable, unthinkable, the ground and source of being.
Madame H.P. Blavatsky, co-founder of the Theosophical Society, refers to this ultimate good in the first fundamental proposition as, quote, an omnipresent, eternal, boundless, and immutable principle on which all speculation is impossible, since it transcends the power of human conception and could only be dwarfed by any human expression or similitude. It is beyond the range and reach of thought. In the words of the Mandukya Upanishad, unthinkable and unspeakable, unquote.
Both physics and theosophy suggest that everything has arisen out of complete emptiness. And the Secret Doctrine does make an effort to tell us some aspects of how this universe comes into being, how from the undifferentiated, unmanifested one does the many arise, including you and me.
Imagine that the screen in front of you represents the eternal, undifferentiated reality referred to earlier. Within this void, a fundamental polarity arises. On one hand, there is the subjective side of the universe, and on the other hand, its objective counterpart. We might think of the subjective side as unconditioned consciousness, or spirit, while the objective side can be called the root or the possibility of matter. From this polarization, a strange kind of tension is said to exist between the two poles that might best be described as abstract motion. So according to the Secret Doctrine, these three aspects, spirit, the root of matter, and abstract motion, are the bases for all existence.
And these three are one. In Hinduism, it's thought of as the great breath. Now, a simple example might show how that can be. That is, how three aspects can be indivisible in one unity. If we take a bar magnet, with which everyone is familiar, and we let the north pole of that magnet represent the subjective side, or the subjective pole of reality, and we let the south pole represent the objective side of reality, and then we take the force field, which we see between the poles when we put iron filings, don't we, near the magnet. If we let that force field represent motion, then we will have an analogy of how the Secret Doctrine sees this unity in the triplicity. Now, let us say that we didn't know any better and we thought we'd like to have a north pole in one hand and a south pole in the other. We would break the magnet, wouldn't we? And we'd say, now I have a north pole and now I have a south pole. But you know it isn't possible, don't you? The minute you break it in half, you have another magnet here and one here. You have two magnets now, because you can't have the North Pole without the South Pole. So you see, there can be such a thing as a triplicity, which is yet a unity. All are present at every level of existence. It's a fundamental reality to which we don't usually put our minds. It's so fundamental that it escapes us. Everything is conscious, everything moves, everything is substantive. This is true, it's said in the Secret Doctrine, from the deepest level, from the most interior levels to the most exterior levels. So all three of those aspects are present in an archangel and in an ant. They're present in a galaxy and in a grain of sand.